Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Through the Pages with Dee. I'm Dee. So today we're going to be talking about the trilogy that I've just read, the Farseer Trilogy, which is written by Robin Hobb. There's a quick video that I've got to insert here, just to explain basically what the book's about.
Fitz, the bastard child to Chivalry, the king in waiting, goes on an epic adventure involving loss, love and magic. Gaining a group of unlikely friends along his way, Fitz is determined to save the six duchies from the onslaught of the red ships and from inside the treachery of the Farseer household.
Okay, so Farseer Trilogy. Very slow burn. Great characters though. It's very much a coming of age story with regards to Fitz and the trials and tribulations that he has to go through in order to fit into this family called Farseer and try and find his heritage. He doesn't really get to meet his dad at any point, which is Chivalry, who is the king in waiting, next in line for the throne. But it's quite a touching story in places. It's definitely got battle elements to it. It's fight scenes. There are forged ones who are classed as kind of like zombies. They don't really remember where they've come from. There's not really much of an explanation up until right at the very end of the book as to what the forged ones actually are. There's also a quest by Verity, who is the next king in waiting. I may as well say it because Chivalry dies. Fitz's father dies. Spoiler alert, Fitz's father dies. But that's very, very early in the book. So there's not really much of a spoiler there. You find that out quite soon. And Fitz comes across a lot of different characters. He makes a lot of different friends, a lot of different relationships. Some of my favourites being with Burrich, with Chade, with Night Eyes, who is his wolf companion, with Lady Patience, with Ketrican. So yeah, those are just a few of the characters who Fitz gets to meet along the way. So this is a good old tale, good old fantasy tale of a quest. The quest is to find the Elderlings. Now, we don't really get to know right up until the end what the Elderlings are. But let me tell you, when you get to find out what the Elderlings are, that's not what I thought they were going to be. That's definitely not what I had in mind for what the Elderlings were. But it was a nice surprise. A little bit drawn out, really, as to what the Elderlings are, how to get them motivated again like King Wisdom did back in his day. But still, very nice surprise. I very much enjoyed that. I love the companionship from Fitz and Night Eyes, the wolf. Very similar to relationships in books like Radar in Fairy Tale by Stephen King and 630 in Lessons in Chemistry and Storm in John Gwynne's The Faithful and the Fallen. Great companionship with an animal. So that's part of the wit. That's a magical essence that Fitz has within him, is he has the wit, which then allows him to be able to speak to animals. He also eventually gets round to learning what's called the skill. And that is a magical element that allows people with the skill to telepathically communicate. But not only that, they can also tweak somebody's mind. That's not really the word I was looking for, but tweak somebody's mind into thinking differently. And Verity, when he becomes the king in waiting, very much relies upon the skill to be able to protect Bookkeep from the red ships. Now, the red ships are one of the main villains within this story. There is another main villain, which is another of the Farseer line, which is Regal, who is an absolute arse. Let's just put it out there. He's an absolute arse. But I credit Robin Hobb with her writing because she has clearly made me feel that way about him. Without her writing, I wouldn't have felt that way. And she does it well because I had to put the book down. He was annoying me that much. I had to actually give it up for a few minutes because he was really starting to rile me and grate on me. I thought Lycos was bad from John Gwynne's books. No, Regal's worse. Regal is worse. So we've got those characters. There is a lot of walking in these books, especially in the last book, Assassin's Quest. A hell of a lot of walking. Hell of a lot of hunting and hell of a lot of walking. After I'd read them, I watched Mike's book review and he said the same. So I don't think I'm that far off. That doesn't mean to say that you shouldn't give these books a go. You absolutely should. Because Robin Hobb's writing, her style, the poeticness of it is 100% worth reading them. I thought these books were beautifully written, like I said, almost poetic, and I very much enjoyed, barring the monotony of the hunting and the walking, very much enjoyed the other side of the story. Fitz becoming a man, Fitz finding his love interest, which is Molly, and as the children he calls her Nosebleed, and they have a nice friendship between them. But she does, as they get into this relationship, she becomes quite grating. Sadly, she becomes quite naggy. And I'm a woman myself, and I know women, not all of you, I'm not claiming all of you for being this, so please don't, get up at me. I'm just saying that some women, can be quite naggy towards their partners. I find that quite irritating, so I found Molly irritating. I wouldn't have minded if she would have just disappeared out of the story altogether. But she doesn't, because at the end, there is a reason why she's still in it. And to be fair to Molly as a character, at the end, she actually does become a little bit more feisty. Yeah, that's a good word. She becomes a little bit more feisty. And there's that one particular section of her story that I actually quite like. I'm trying to do this without spoilers. So yeah, that's the story. He meets different people along the way. In the end of the book, he meets another two characters called Starling and Kettle. Kettle's actually called Kestrel, which you will find out when you read the story. There's a reason behind that, and the skill is very much predominant within that story. But yeah, these characters are great. They are really, really good, really interesting. Starling and Kettle, because they come in at the end, you don't really get to know much about them. But I do realise from reading it that Starling becomes a prevalent character because she is a minstrel, and minstrels are the people who foretell the history. So she's imperative in the tale because she is going to, in the future, tell the tales of Fitz and Verity and the quest and how they got the elderlings. And yeah, so that's her point. And the point of Kettle, to me, these are my opinions only, bear that in mind. If you read it, you can make your own opinions, but these are just my opinions that I'm sharing with you guys, and that's the point of this channel. So for my opinion, Kettle is she's basically what Verity needs to be able to accomplish his task. She's the missing element of Verity's task. Fitz believes that it's him, but Verity is reluctant to do that to Fitz. So Kettle is the one who becomes that go-between to get that task finished. But yeah, there's excitement, and there's fight scenes. There are forged ones. You eventually, at the very, very end of Assassin's Quest, practically the last chapter, find out how the forged ones come about. You read the entirety of the book, and not once does it explain how these red ships and kidnapping people from the Six Duchies, how they're actually managing to turn them into forged ones. They're actually going onto these ships as everybody else and coming off practically like zombies. They don't remember the family. They just hunt, they kill, they're vicious. But it doesn't explain it to you as to how they're doing that right up until the end. Then it explains it. And then it kind of ties in with the elderlings, and then you're like, oh, okay. Might have helped if I'd have known that a bit sooner, but okay, I guess it spoils the story. So there's that element of it. But yeah, it's a great read. I really enjoyed it. Barring Regal, he didn't get his comeuppance soon enough for me. He could have been gotten rid of in book 2. Royal Assassin. He could have gone then. I would have been very happy if he'd have gone then. However, he didn't. He stayed right up until the end. But what I will say is this. Rather than it being what you would consider a brutal comeuppance, which you think as you read this character that's what he deserves, the comeuppance was very, very intelligent. I very much like the way Robin Hobb came up with that and tweaked it so that, no, I'm not going to do what you expect of me here. I'm going to throw you a curve and do something that you wouldn't necessarily have thought. I'm not just going to kill him off. I'm going to do it this way. And it's so good. I so appreciated the way that she did that. Like I said, could have lived without him from book 2. Would have been quite happy if he'd have died quite a lot sooner. But the way she does it is fantastic. Verity is a great character, and the relationships that come from, sorry, it's just a man. the relationships that come from Fitz to Burrich, who's the stable master who practically raises him, from Fitz to Chade, who's the one who is teaching him how to be an assassin, from Fitz to Lady Patience, who basically takes on a maternal role towards Fitz. They're so beautiful to read, and you really find that you care about these characters. You want them to succeed. You want them to survive. I had a little bit there where I thought that Chade might be the one who turns on Fitz, because it doesn't really give away, to start with, who the threat within Farseer is. And then you realise it's Regal. It's blatantly explained that it's Regal. And he's a piece of shit. But I did, for a little time, think maybe it might be Chade. Maybe he might be setting Fitz up for a fall here. No, Chade is the one who's loyal to Fitz and looks after him. Basically, if he gets in trouble, he's there a good percentage of the time to pull him out of it. Burrich, there's a fantastic scene where Burrich stands up for Fitz and does something that means a lot so that nobody can question it. And then there's Gallon, who works for Regal, who at 2 is an arse, basically an arse. He's the Swift master, skill master, sorry, Swift, skill master. And he's there bringing in a new, what's called a coterie of skills. So they're bringing in new generation, basically, to learn the skill. And the king sees that Fitz is brought into this, basically, pack of learners to learn the skill. And Gallon is just cruel to Fitz. He's just nasty and cruel, because he can tell that Fitz is quite strong in the skill. And if he learns it the right way, he's quite strong in it. And he's just nasty to him. And basically, he's clearly going off Regal's orders and just doesn't want him to do well in it, and makes that perfectly clear in his actions. So Burrich, off the back of that, stands up for Fitz and does something, and it basically makes sure that everyone knows that Fitz can't be held accountable. So it's really good. Regal is just awful. He's just an awful, awful man. Lady Patience is lovely. I love how her and, I think it's Lacey, her lady companion, there's a particular part where you find out that Lacey isn't just a lady's maid. That's not all she is. And that was one of my most interesting parts and fun parts to read, is when you find out that she's not just all she appears to be. She's not what her outside shows you. She's actually more. So that was great. That was a great, and how Lady Patience in Assassin's Quest steps up to the front. Everything's going basically tits up in Bookkeep. Regal's left. He's gone inland from where his mum's from, and everything's going tits up. Verity's in the mountains searching for the Elderlings. Fitz has now gone after him, so there's basically nobody in Bookkeep. And Lady Patience is there just holding the fort, and she does a bloody good job of it. She steps up, because she comes across as quite meek and quite timid. No, she steps up to the plate. She's selling everything that she can to keep the place running, and she does a bloody good job of it. So yeah, it's a great tale. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I will say there are parts that I could have lived without, didn't necessarily need. Or the walking and the hunting, that wasn't necessarily needed, in my opinion. I wanted us to just get to Verity in Assassin's Quest. Assassin's Quest is the one that was so many pages and didn't need to be that many pages, in my opinion. But we eventually get to Verity, and we eventually find out. And there's an awful lot of dream sequences where the skill's involved, where Fitz is asleep. But there's a lot of that goes on. So if you can get through that and just continue through the story, you will really, really enjoy these books. And there's the Fool as well, who in the last book, Assassin's Quest, comes more to the forefront and becomes a better character. And you can see how the relationship and the bond between him and Fitz grows. And you can see how it's going to relate into Fitz's future. Because I do know that there are another set of books that relate to Fitz and the Fool, I think. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that actual set where it's Fitz and the Fool, because they do have a very good relationship with each other. But yeah, overall, I thoroughly enjoyed this. Another one of my favourite characters, Ketrican. She's a very strong female character. I love her. She is a lot younger than Verity, who she's destined to marry and does eventually marry. Regal sets that up, but Regal's plan is basically for Verity to not marry her and for him to get hold of Ketrigan. So you can see kind of where that storyline is going. But Ketrigan actually stays very loyal to Verity and actually ends up in love with him, which I know a lot of those arranged marriages at that time for the realms and the kingdoms probably wouldn't have involved a lot of love. It would have just been a case of, you know, bore me a child and that's you done. But no, she's a very strong character. She goes through her turmoils, but comes out at the end of it much stronger. And the elderlings that Verity is searching for, definitely a surprise. Definitely didn't expect that. That's not what I thought elderlings were going to be. So just on that principle alone, I would say to you, here's why to read it. As I've explained to you, that there is a search and a hunt for elderlings, and this is what Verity has to do with the help of Fitz and his camaraderie, who he meets along the way on his travel. They are searching for these elderlings. That in itself is worth giving the book a read, just to find out who or what the elderlings actually are. Because once I found out, brilliant, brilliant. It was worth it. It was worth going through the turmoils of the long walks and the long hunts and the skill dreams and, you know, Will, who's another character of the Regal's court area of skill, who's seems like a shitty character, but we don't necessarily know whether he is or it's just Regal's influence. Not giving too much away there, but he gets his comeuppance. I felt I was a little bit torn with that one. I wasn't sure whether I was happy about that or not. I don't like him as a character and the things that he did, but I wasn't sure if I was happy with the comeuppance that he got. But yeah, those are just a few of the points that I wanted to make and to share with you about how I enjoyed the Farseer Trilogy. I thought it was a good old fantasy tale. Just the quest and the magic and the animal companions and the relationships. I don't think Burrich got enough time for me in the books. I would have liked to have seen more of Burrich, but I'm glad that he was in there and he was able to form Fitz into a description of a man. So yeah, for me, I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, that's the Farseer Trilogy in my opinion. I hope you guys will give it a go. And if you do, let me know what you thought of it. Now, just want to also mention that in my last video, I mentioned about, because I did a haul, I mentioned about what book should I read. And my daughter on her socials did a little poll just to see what came up. And the book that came up for me to read, which I am absolutely ecstatic about, is The Grey Bastards by Jonathan French. As you can see, I've already started reading it because I finished the trilogy and had nothing to read, and I read every day. So yes, I've started reading it. I love it. I love it. There's swearing, there is whores, there is yeah, just I'm loving it. So I can't wait. As soon as I finish that, I'm going to be posting videos, health allowing. I'm going to be posting videos Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays. So hopefully I will have that finished for Monday and I can give you my review then on Monday about that. But yeah, I've just recently had a delivery of the books that I think I'm missing, which is Joe Abercrombie and the Dandelion Dynasty. I kept saying daffodil on my last video. Dandelion. So I think I've just, they're right here. I'll just grab here. I've got them here. Haven't opened them yet, but I think that's what they are. So yeah, I'm going to open them once I've done this video. And again, I just want to say thank you guys for showing me love and appreciation. If you could like this video, if you could subscribe if you want to, it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. You hit the notification bell, then you'll know when I've posted a video. Like I said, it's probably going to be Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays now. If I don't do that, it's just purely because I'm having some health issues and that's maybe why I can't do it. But other than that, yeah, that's the routine I'll be sticking to. So yeah, give the Farseer Trilogy a go. Robin Hobb. I strongly advise it. So that's it from me today. And until the next time we talk, I'll see you through the pages.